Boom. All right, what's going on, you guys? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Stock Talk, series where we cover exciting news and price action in regard to a few plays that are exciting me personally at the moment. Today, we're going to be focusing on a few spicy little EV stocks. We just received some great news out of the Biden administration regarding potential funding for electric vehicles. So that was the primary catalyst behind today's price action. So I'm excited to go over some of those articles. We'll obtain a fundamental understanding of what was behind this movement. But of course, I am more excited to get into the price action with you guys, take a look at the charts and talk price targets and whatnot. Okay, so let's get into it. As always, we'll quickly go over each topic we're going to be discussing, and then we'll dive into each one individually. In front of us, as always, TradingView, where we'll take a look at the following names today going down the watch list. Kicking it off with the two big winners, Workhorse and BLNK, up both over 30% today. Huge price action for these guys. Excited to get into that. Again, we do have a few articles to cover there, which we'll look at right after this. And then Hyllion, which is a play I'm actually very excited about. I personally see a lot of potential in myself. And then we'll close it out with ALYI. So ALYI is just on an absolute tear, and I can't not talk about it. It is technically an EV play. It's an electric vehicle play, so it fits perfectly into this stock talk. And yeah, I'm very excited to talk price action in regard to each of these plays today with you guys. But in terms of news, we will kick it off with an article by the Motley Fool titled, "Here's Why Workhorse Group Stock Popped Today." Okay, so of course we want to develop a fundamental understanding of what happened. I just told you guys briefly what happened, but we'll go a little more in depth into that. And yeah, just learn what was behind today's price action for Workhorse. We then have another little catalyst. So this is fun. This is not obviously not the primary catalyst behind today's movement, but this is a big factor behind why Workhorse and plays like BLNK soared so hard today. Like 30% is a crazy move up, you guys, and that was caused by a short squeeze. Many of you may have heard of this with the little GameStop controversy, the Wall Street Bets GameStop controversy going on. I don't know if it's a controversy, but you guys know what's going on here. So I figured we'd go over this. I really want to talk to you guys about this because it explains what short selling is. Pretty briefly, the author did a very good job on this, so shout out to Al Root, but we'll go over this. It does get a little educational, but it's very important to understand the prospect of a short squeeze if you guys are involved in the markets, especially options like I am personally, and I know many of you are as well. Okay, so we'll go over this guy. We will then go back to Hyllion. We'll talk about Workhorse. We'll go straight down the line here. So after the Workhorse article, we'll kick it off with the Workhorse article. And then after that, we'll actually go straight down the line here. Workhorse, BLNK, and then Hyllion. Just straight price action. Spend some time on the charts. And then I want to close it out with this pretty long article about ALYI. So if you guys are interested in this stock, I know some of you may not be. It's perfectly fine. You guys can just peace out after that. But I've seriously never been more excited about the raw potential of an investment in my entire life, and I'm super stoked on this. So this is titled, this is actually, if you guys watched the initial ALYI kind of analysis, solo analysis video that I made, I talked about how the CEO was about to release a statement on Friday. I think I released it on like Wednesday or Thursday or something of last week. So this is that statement from the CEO on Friday. I like everything I see here. I'm super pumped. Like this could not have been a better statement from the CEO, in my opinion. So it is a little long. I wanted to save it for the end, so you guys can stick around if you want, and then we will close it out with that ALYI analysis on the charts. All right, but before we do get into that, as always, I will ask you to please give the video a like if you do go on to gain value from it today, or if you're invested in any of the stocks we're going to be talking about. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, want to catch more content like this, and of course, check out my complete portfolio daily newsletter, first link in the description, if you want to know how I'm potentially trading all of these stocks. Keep in mind, you guys, I don't only like EVs. You guys know I like cryptos, I like biotechs. There's so many sectors that I'm excited about. You get a complete breakdown of my entire portfolio. I update that every single trading day during market hours. And with every update, I send out a newsletter. So shout out to the Waves fam down below. Please say if you like the newsletter or not, because I'm genuinely curious myself. I put a lot of time into it. I put a lot of effort into it, and I take a lot of pride in it. Okay, so I would really appreciate it if you checked it out. It's a great way to support me and gain some value at the same time. So first link down in the description if you want to do that. But if not, no worries at all. All right. Let us get in to, once again, you guys know we got to kick it off with the fundamentals. So we will spend some time, again, we'll go right down the line here, do 3 in one sitting. But first, we have to understand what's behind this price action from a fundamental perspective. So what? While President Joe Biden was signing a Buy America executive order on Monday, he made a comment that could have major implications for Workhorse Group. The federal government also owns an enormous fleet of vehicles which are going to replace with clean electric vehicles made right here in America by American workers, Biden said. Much recent investor interest in Workhorse Group relates to the potential for the last mile delivery truck maker to land at least a portion of the $6 billion government contract to replace postal service vehicles. The contract award has been delayed several times. Yeah, we've talked about it's been a while since we talked about Workhorse, you guys, but we were talking about it over the course of that potential contract. It caused a lot of excitement, but this is very exciting news as well. But even a portion of it would be significant for Workhorse Group, which estimates it will construct a total of only 1,800 vehicles in 2021, which isn't great. That's not a whole lot of volume objectively, you guys, but it's about the long-term potential. This market is operating on very, very long-term time frames in terms of potential, so that it's just the beginning, you guys. It's a very early industry, which is very important to understand in many of the, not only the EV sector, but many of the sectors that we cover on this channel. Now what? The significance of the president's comments comes from the potential volume relative to Workhorse's current capacity. The U.S. government owns approximately 645,000 vehicles, according to 2019 data from the U.S. General Services Administration. As of July 2020, only 3,215 were electric vehicles, Reuters reported, citing GSA data. Okay, so again, you guys, we're in the early phase of this. This is just the beginning for plays like Workhorse. So Workhorse, obviously a very, very exciting long-term play, but again, you guys, the short-term price action is a lot harder to tell. Let's just jump straight into it. Nope, we'll go over this first. You know what? We'll do Workhorse and then go back to that just to mix it up a little bit. We'll do the Workhorse analysis, jump into this because it kind of takes BLNK into account as well, and then we'll do BLNK, Hyllion, and then finish with ALYI. There we go. On the fly. Okay, so Workhorse. Again, you guys, we've been following Workhorse for a long time. Ever since this initial pop back here, been following Workhorse, been on that ride. In all honesty, you guys, full transparency, I have not traded this stock the best myself. I do have a stock position, but I haven't been in calls. I wish I had some calls today. But regardless of what I'm doing, I want to help you guys out. So here you can see the Workhorse, since its correction, it has technically been in a downtrend. It's actually been printing a very significant wedge since way back at the end of summer. So September 21st is when Workhorse set its yearly high at about $31, $32. Okay, since then, again, it has been in a very volatile, very highly volatile downtrend. Again, with some of that news, the contracts coming up, the 6 billion in vehicles, whatever, that contract that we just talked about. That news obviously played into this, but you can see a huge wedge here ranging from, let's take a quick price range on this. So from this high back here, again, around $32 to its low, that's a 50% correction. So at this point, that's like just for future reference, you guys, a 50% correction is usually a fairly safe time if you know the company is fundamentally solid to maybe consider establishing a long-term position. And that's what happened. After 50% correction, we saw a huge move back up. It did test the top side of this channel because it had a touch point right here. So it created that wedge pattern, the beautiful wedge pattern. And usually, you guys, when you see a wedge pattern like this on a long-term time frame, if the stock is in a long-term uptrend, it's probably going to be resolved to the upside. Again, the news obviously did have a huge fundamental catalyst. The short squeeze was a big fundamental catalyst, which we're about to learn about once again. But let's talk top side because now we have broken out of this wedge. So my top side price targets for Workhorse are very, very it's very likely, very likely, probably 90+% likely, just in my opinion. You guys, not financial advice. This is just my opinion, but it's very likely, just based on technicals, like technicals 101, that we come up to test this overall uptrend, this long-term uptrend right here. This first point of contact on July 20th. The next at, once again, Workhorse's all-time high. At around $31, $32, and that creates the overall uptrend. It's a very simple trend line, and if we do, say we hit it on the 1st of March, that would take us to $48. Say we hit it on the 1st of April Fool's, that would take us to over $50. Okay, so keep in mind, you guys, because this is such a steep trend line, it all depends on when Workhorse does ultimately go up to test this line of resistance on the overall uptrend. So as always, you guys, I do recommend you go into TradingView, go into whatever app you want to use to track charts. Draw this line for yourself if you're considering trading Workhorse, and just keep your eye on it. But I think it's very likely over time that this to me looks like a pretty solid trade, and I do think it's very, very likely. again, because the fundamentals are so strong behind Workhorse, because there's such just momentum behind the fundamentals of electric vehicles and whatnot, I think it's very likely we test this. Again, that would take us to over $45 in the near futures. But say we hit it tomorrow, that would take us to about tomorrow, right there. January 28th, that would bring us to exactly $45. So I think $45 plus is a safe bet for Workhorse, and that is my long-term. That is not my long-term. That's my medium-term price target for Workhorse. All right, moving on. Let's go over this article real quick, and then again, we'll jump into BLNK and the other goodies. Shares of Workhorse Group, a maker of electric commercial. Jesus, what the heck is happening here? Electric commercial delivery vans are soaring more than 20%, cracking $30 each in Tuesday trading. Here's the thing, there isn't much company news. Instead, Workhorse short sellers appear to be getting squeezed like other bearish investors in heavily shorted stocks such as GameStop, Virgin Galactic, and Beyond Meat. So I'm sure you guys have all heard, once again, as I mentioned in the beginning, the whole GameStop situation that's happening right now. Wall Street bets. The retailers, us retail traders, are taking on the institutions. Billions of dollars wiped off institutional shorts. You love to see it, you guys. Take them down. Take them down. It's our time to shine. Okay, so I love to see it. Again, it is controversial, but it just shows where the market's going. It shows a change in macro trend for the retail investor landscape, and I love to see it. It's the Robinhood story. Robinhood story on probably the Robinhood app. I love that. An investor who sold stock. So again, we're going to go into very quick education about what shorting stocks is and what a short squeeze more specifically is, because again, if you're involved in options, call options, put options, etc., it's very important to understand this, because there's also long squeezes too. So which is the opposite of the short squeeze, which is also important to keep in mind and just to understand from a principles perspective. An investor who sold stock short has borrowed shares of a particular company to sell on a bet that the investor can buy the shares later at a lower price to return the borrowed shares. The short seller's gross profit is the difference between the price shares that were sold at the price shares were purchased later. If, however, the stock price rises instead of falls, that party that lent the shares to sell may require the investor to cover part of the bet by buying some shares and returning them. If the shares continue to rise in price, others who sold the stock short are forced to pay higher prices to return the shares, a process that might drive prices even higher. When the stock surges because short sellers are buying the stock to cover their bets, the event is known as a short squeeze. So the reason the stock pops so hard, again, there's a fundamental catalyst here, but the reason it pops up, you see that crazy gap up right here, is because short sellers have to cover their asses. They have to cover their positions because they have to cover their shorts. Okay, so they have to buy a whole bunch of shares to cover their shorts because they got squeezed out, and that's what causes the price to increase significantly. All right, so be aware of that. Again, be cautious of that, because that's exactly what happened to BLNK today. That's literally exactly what happened to GameStop on a mass scale, and just always be cautious of that, because again, you guys, it can happen on the reverse too. If a lot of people are long something, if something's going up and there's a lot of calls on something, if it goes down enough, the same thing works. So the calls will have to buy up shares to cover their margins once again. Okay, so again, just wanted to throw a little education in there for you guys. Sorry if you already knew what it was, but I thought it was important, so I wanted to share it. Boom, moving on to BLNK. All right, BLNK Charging. BLNK Charging Co. has had the most insane rally, you guys. I remember covering it back here, broke out of here. It went from $13. BLNK earlier this year when we started covering it was after this high was at $13 over here, reached a low of $6. So BLNK is almost 10x'd. BLNK is almost 10x'd from its lows earlier this summer, which is absolutely insane. But I mean, again, it's part of the stock portfolio. Shout out newsletter fam once again. You love to see it. It was a good day for the boys and girls, of course. Love all the lovely ladies out there as well. But anyway, BLNK is in a very textbook ascending channel right now. Very, very nice ascending channel. So I think it's very likely that in the short term, we come up to test the top side of this channel. It would only make sense to me. This is a solid ascending channel, you guys. Again, with the fundamental momentum, it would honestly surprise me if we didn't come up to test this. If we test it February 3rd, again, just where I chose to randomly draw the price target. Always keep that in mind. I just randomly throw these, just what I feel looks right intuitively. If we test it February 3rd, that would bring us to an $80 BLNK. So that's an extra 30% gain right there. Okay, so that could be a good trade. Again, not telling you guys to do anything, but it looks appealing in my eyes. This chart looks very good. with all the fundamental catalysts behind it. If we test the top side of this February 3rd, that would take us to $80. But I do believe it's likely that at some point we will correct to the bottom side of this range. That would take us to about, if we hit on February 19th, pop up, come down February 19th, February 20th, whatever, that's about $54, okay? At that point, I would be a lot more interested in picking up some calls on BLNK personally, just because there's a lot of hype. The market, the calls today were insane for both of these stocks. So I personally would probably let these cool down a bit before considering establishing a position, but that's just me. Always do what you want. Again, I just said we'd probably pop up here. So always up to you guys. I do think after we come down here, we will ultimately come back up to test this trend, the top side of this channel once again. So this, I love ascending channels because they're very tradable stocks. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, if you want to know exactly when I buy in, newsletter, first link in the description. Okay, so moving on to Hyllion. Again, I really like this play, and then we'll get into this this very, very exciting article about ALYI as well. Okay, so Hyllion up 12% today. Not quite as much. It had a good day, but not quite as much as plays like Workhorse and BLNK. Again, I think that Hyllion did not get short squeezed out because Hyllion's gotten so worked over the past months since the summer. It hasn't really had that bounce back that Workhorse and BLNK has had. So that's the reason why if Workhorse and BLNK didn't short squeeze, I'd assume institutional players out and force them to cover their calls, I assume it would probably be up close to this, maybe like 15% or something. But again, that short squeeze, it like doubled the percentage gain. In my opinion, that's just kind of what I drew from today, my analysis personally. But anyway, Hyllion to me is by far the most appealing play in this sector. Hyllion, very cool. We've been covering this forever ago. I have one of my OG and now probably one of the first stock talks actually I made, like the stock where like the series stock talk that we shout out to you guys if you've been here since I started the stock talk episodes. Let me know down below because I'm curious about that as well. But I think the reason I bring that up, I'm rambling about that, is because I think Workhorse, I think we covered Workhorse, BLNK, and Hyllion in like one of the very first stock talk episodes I've ever made. So it's cool to how this is coming full circle. I really see a lot of potential in Hyllion, considering it's just gotten absolutely annihilated over time. Again, if you guys do want a Hyllion analysis, I did make an analysis video like probably over half a year ago now on Hyllion. Just if you guys want to understand the company, we took a look at the website and whatnot. They make electric powertrains for semi trucks. Okay, so they don't manufacture vehicles. They manufacture powertrains, which I think is a very cool, very unique play in the EV space. They serve a specific market, which I like a lot. And obviously, there's a lot of trucks, so they don't have to go through all of the infrastructure, all the overhead of building out complete vehicles. They can specialize one product and just nail that product. And I think that's very cool for Hyllion. Just again, I'm not super well versed on all the financials and whatnot at this moment in time, but I really like the mission. I liked it when I analyzed it months ago, and I still like it. And I think it has a lot of potential. So Hyllion is still technically in an overall downtrend. Again, I already had the price correction up here because I wanted to show you. So Hyllion from its high back at the 1st of September over at almost $60 to its low just on December 15th before the new year at $15 is a very significant correction, about 74% to be exact. So we saw 74% correction. A 74% correction, you guys, I just said a 50% correction is pretty solid and maybe a good time to consider a long position if you're bullish on the company long term, of course. 75 is like I played a lot of bubbles. You guys, many of you who have been around for a while know that I played a lot of bubbles in my day, and 75 is like after a true bubble, a 75% correction is like it usually doesn't go lower than 75 unless the company goes bankrupt or something is just super whack about the company. So again, I like Hyllion. I think it's very, very, very unlikely that it goes lower. Always remember, you guys, it can. It's very possible for it to go lower. I just think it's unlikely, and I think it's very likely that we test the line of resistance on this long-term downtrend. Okay, so again, you have the points of contact over here. I think it's very likely that if we see a pop in Hyllion, that we come up to test this long-term line of resistance on the overall downtrend. That would take us to about $32. And this previous high right here, the first wave, you guys, good old two-wave theory. I think this is probably one of the stocks that originated that theory. Boom, first wave, you see the stock pop off. The bubble pops, you see capitulation, sideways movement, usually followed by a second wave. That's a two-wave right there. So that's a textbook second wave. Bubble has popped. But you could almost say that if we do pop up to this area, this initial high where Hyllion just absolutely went ballistic at $35, that could create almost a weird little head and shoulders pattern as well. So keep that in mind. That's almost like a double catalyst. I'm a lot more convinced in like the $32.50, $33 if we do test this downtrend. But it would make sense to me that we test 35 too and just rematch this initial high set way back here, because I think the fundamentals are significantly greater. Again, because the EV sector is becoming fundamentally more sound every day that passes, especially with the Biden administration in the mix right now. Okay, so very bullish on Hyllion. Yeah, obviously $19 to $32 is a very significant price gain. So very exciting there, over 50% potential gain. And again, I'm not sure if this is going to play out, but always know, you guys, my money is on what I'm saying. Finishing off, ALYI. You guys, look at this chart. That's so insane, you guys. It's so cool to see. Like, it's so cool to see this. I'm so pumped. But again, we will close it out with the analysis with the chart. That's a beautiful, looks so beautiful. Okay, let's read this and then we'll get into it. All right. So this is a good article. Alternet Systems today published a corporate update in 2021 outlook. Remember, this is from Friday. From the company CEO Randall Torno, the update and outlook is included in its entirety below. So this has been a long one, you guys. Sorry if I'm skipping over words and stuff. The ALYI business model is founded on the idea of establishing a perpetual system of electric vehicle innovation. Unlike the vast majority of electric vehicle contenders, ALYI is not staking its shareholder value on a single state-of-the-art electric vehicle designed to capture consumers' imagination today. ALYI is launching an electric mobility ecosystem to continuously identify market needs, capture the best available technology, target new ideas, and combine all the above into the next innovative electric vehicle product. To both attract industry-leading talent and provide an opportunity to prove their innovations, ALYI is launching an annual electric vehicle race in partnership with a brand name racing organization. The annual race event will be hosted simultaneously with an electric mobility symposium and expo. While most electric vehicle companies target developed economic markets where their products will have to replace existing combustion engine powered competitors, ALYI is focused on Africa, emerging market, where low per capita transportation saturation provides the opportunity to introduce first-time transportation solutions, not replacements. So this by far is the single most bullish paragraph statement in this entire article, in this entire statement. This is the most bullish paragraph in this entire statement, because it's so true. Africa, I've been saying that. I said that in the initial one. Africa, emerging market, probably the emerging market. I view Africa 50 years from now, it's going to be straight up. It's going to look like Black Panther. It's going to look like Wakanda from Black Panther. I seriously believe that to be true. China saw it. China's thriving right now. China is one of the richest nations in the entire world. I think we can expect something very similar of Africa over the coming decades, definitely century. Okay. And over time, I just listened to a great little mini podcast by Pomp, so shout out to Pomp. He was talking about how emerging markets, the per capita income of each individual is rising at a pretty staggering rate because they're getting technology. They're getting access to all of the things that have created so much wealth for developed nations, and their per capita income is raising. Obviously, that's good. That makes them afford better things, and that's obviously good for a company that is targeting Africa. Okay, and one of the first, like this is revolutionary. You guys know I love revolutionary assets on this channel. That's like in my little channel art part on my YouTube page. Investor in revolutionary assets and stocks. And I truly believe that this, I don't know if they're going to execute on this. I have no proof that they actually will be able to execute on any of this, but the vision is great. Okay, so as always, you guys, before we go any further, I have to make it very clear this is a very risky, very objectively speculative stock, but my money is very, very where my mouth is on this one. Trust me. Okay, yes, we start an electric motorcycle to prime the electric mobility ecosystem. Since the original pilot motorcycle, the ALYI design team has introduced two additional electric motorcycle design paths. First, the company will produce an electric motorcycle with a sleek retro style based on a BMW R71 clone. You can see it here, and include a conversion kit for do-it-yourself to electrify their own BMW R71 or R7, which is pretty cool. So if you already have one of these, or if you have one of these, if you already have one of these, they will give you the kit. They will sell the kit as well, so you can convert it from petrol to electric. ALYI's second design path leads to an electric motorcycle to be produced immediately to specifically support an Uber and Lyft type transportation solution, evolving the African motorcycle taxi BOTA market. ALYI's design team has now launched a third design path to develop a paradigm-changing state-of-the-art electric motorcycle. In particular, the third design path will be integrated into the electric mobility ecosystem. ALYI's progress in 2020 has put the company in a strong position to make 2021 a breakout year. ALYI has existing orders for its electric motorcycles and the opportunity to increase increase orders by 1,000%, if not more. Demand in Africa is high. ALYI has production partners in Africa ready to produce ALYI's electric motorcycles. The electric vehicle race partnership has begun site selection and engineering to host the annual event. The anticipated breakout in 2021 will be triggered on ALYI's financing partner finalizing its $100 million investment commitment. Remember, you guys, even after ALYI's price action over the past few days, it's still at like a $6 million market cap, which is tiny. ALYI's financing partner is where it gets a little shady, but I want to explain to you guys what's going on here. Revolt Token has already provided key funding to advance ALYI's business plan to its current stage. Revolt Token plans to democratize the ALYI electric vehicle ecosystem through the introduction of dedicated cryptocurrency offering holders participation in the ecosystem. Revolt Token, the business entity, plans to offer Revolt Tokens, a cryptocurrency, through an ICO. Revolt Token is carefully addressing regulatory prerequisites prior to launching an ICO. While Revolt Token optimistically anticipated the process to address regulatory prerequisites going faster than has been the case, Revolt Token is still resolved in its commitment to fund ALYI progress in a timely manner. While Revolt Token remains committed to the ICO, Revolt Token plans to soon provide additional funding separate from the ICO process to maintain ALYI on a rapid business development path. So again, you guys, when you see ICO, if you guys were around, especially during 2017, during the ICO boom, you would understand kind of the stigma behind ICOs, which is an initial coin offering. We said that. So an ICO is the same version of an IPO for a stock, initial public offering. ICO is like the cryptocurrency version of an IPO. And when someone do this, you're pretty much creating a native, like Currency Works. If you guys remember that stock that we've talked about a few times now. Currency Works, they help companies create their own token, like their own native token, which you can use within your own ecosystem. And I have nothing against this. Again, it's still early days, so there's always going to be bad actors in the space, but I mess with this vision so much. You guys know I'm a crypto geek, so I actually love this path. I think it's brilliant. I think it's democratizing. And Africa, throwing a little crypto knowledge in here, Africa is one of the, if you thought again, we just talked about them being an emerging market. The per capita income in Africa is going up significantly, and the adoption of cryptocurrencies is staggering in Africa and in these developing markets. They love cryptocurrencies because they're fiat currencies that have been created by their government have such little worth, and that's a big part of what leads a nation to be poor. But that's the thing about Africa. Like this, the Revolt bike is cool. The fact that they're targeting Africa is cool. The fact that they're using a cryptocurrency which is being adopted at an insane rate in Africa is cool. It's all fluid. And again, you guys, I don't know if they're going to execute on this, but the pitch is amazing. Okay, so Revolt Token is, we just read that. But again, I just wanted to give you guys some clarity on my thoughts on the ICO. I know a lot of you, I see like, oh, this company's a scam, this company's whatever. I don't think so. I understand why some people might get that impression when you just see the ICO. It's literally you see the ICO and you're like, oh, it's a scam. But I mean, I have no reason. I'm always innocent until proven guilty. I'm that kind of guy. I'm an eternal optimist. But everything I've read, all the extensive research that I've done on this company is good. And again, you guys trust me. This is one of the single largest positions in anything I've ever had. The prevailing electric vehicle investment environment is ideal for ALYI to access necessary funding to maintain business development momentum, in addition to the heightened electric vehicle investment interest that began in the summer of 2020. President Biden's environmental agenda now stands to further accelerate electric vehicle investment interest. Really full circle right here. Revolt Token and ALYI anticipate to soon finalizing the terms on the next strategic investment that will fund electric racetrack construction and fund the initiation of electric motorcycle production in Africa. 2021 is going to be an exciting year for ALYI and, of course, any shareholders. And again, you guys, I want to make it very clear that I'm not in any sort of contact with anyone at ALYI. I just stumbled across this project, thought it was super sick, and I do hold shares for, again, as I've been saying, I hold a lot of shares for full transparency. But that's all my choice. I'm not financially incentivized by this company in any way. I just think it's a super promising project, all right? So ALYI had an insane day. So of course we have to go back to the hourly just because the chart is on the 4 hour, on the daily, it just looks insane. So ALYI this morning went up. So let's see. It was I checked it earlier, the price range. We can actually do it right now. So from here, January 25th, where we're at right there, to the high, it saw a 56% increase at one point during the day. And again, you guys, keep in mind, ALYI still, after this price action, after like 250% up days, is just still like a $6.5 million market cap, which is tiny. Keep in mind, for reference, Tesla is 800 billion. This is 1/1000th. This is 1/1000th time. This is like way more than 1/10,000th the size of Tesla. Yeah, I think 1/10,000th is close to that is correct. Sorry. Anyway, you guys, it's a small company. You guys know what I'm saying here. You guys can understand. You guys have seen you guys know what market caps are. You guys know that's a very small market cap. Anyway, as far as price action goes, my initial, again, you guys, last time we covered this, my initial short-term price target for ALYI is to ultimately test this trend line on the short-term uptrend beginning January 6th. I think it's very likely we test this. We came pretty darn close today, hitting a high of 72, not even 72 cents, 0.72 cents. And again, you guys, if we hit it tomorrow, that could make this thing correct a little quicker. But so say we hit it tomorrow, just bring this price target over here real quick. Say we hit it tomorrow, that would take us to a 0.82 cents. Okay, say we hit it on January 28th, that would take us to 0.88 cents. Because this is so steep, the price target, depending on it's very dependent. My price target is very dependent on whenever we choose to test this trend line. I think it's very likely that we ultimately do test this trend line. Maybe we pull back. Maybe we come down, test this region down here, and then come up here. But I think it's very likely that we ultimately test this trend line on the short-term uptrend. And say we do it on the 1st of February, where my initial price target, like before I just added this one this morning, was 1st of February. That would take us to, once again, a 10-cent ALYI. And again, you guys, this one, you have to keep a close eye on this one. This one's going to be volatile. This one is, as I said in the newsletter this morning, this one will take a tough stomach. Will take a strong stomach and thick skin to muster up. But I personally believe that it's beneficial for the longevity of if you want to be a trader, if you want to spend some time in this game, playing stocks like this are very beneficial, because you get to you develop an understanding of how to process emotion with highly volatile plays when you have skin in the game. If you do have stock in this, the ups and downs build character, and it allows you to, again, the more volatility you go through, the more rough times you go through, the stronger you come out on the other side, and the more knowledgeable. Like the ups, with the up days, come great happiness, and it's obviously good to know what that feels like, but it's also good to have that stripped away from you sometimes, so it keeps your ego in check, and it allows you to view things through a more rational lens for the next time you do it. Okay, so once again, you guys, this thing, I wouldn't be surprised at the same time if we just blast straight through this, because this is so, like, such a cool project. So this is best case scenario right here, is if we break through this, say February 1st, we break 10 cents, boom, we're going to the moon, baby. So I had that ready for you guys. We'll close out the video right there. And I'm very excited to see how this one plays out. And again, you guys, it sounds pitchy because I'm so excited. And it's not. I'm just super excited about it. So, of course, you guys always do your own research. Once again, objectively risky, literally a speculative play, but I'm super excited about the potential. I love the vision more than the vision of many other stocks I've maybe ever analyzed. Like, the vision is so sick. The bike is sick. Emerging market in Africa, the crypto integration, it's all sick. So please let me know down below. Sorry I spent a lot of time on this. Again, I'm very excited about it. Let me know what you guys think about any of these stocks, you guys. Workhorse, BLNK, Hyllion, ALYI. Let me know what you think about these below. If you're trading them yourself, what you think their long-term price targets are. If what other plays in the sector you're excited about right now, if none of these are exciting you. So always love talking shop with you guys. Always love learning from you guys. So I'll catch you downstairs. Until next time, always remember, take action, make waves. Peace.